Welcome everyone. Finally, I'm here. I apologize for not coming live because I was occupied in other tasks. So today's video is all about the UK special when you decide that yes, you want to study in the UK university and you want to come to the UK, but you're not sure and you're highly dependent on agents who may not give you full information. So here is what we will be covering today. The first thing we will be covering is how to recognize that whether the institution is licensed to sponsor you to come to study in the UK. So that is step one. Then second is when you come to the UK, you need obviously an accommodation. What are the things that you need to know in terms of agents, deposits, where you can find an accommodation that is for student-friendly purposes. Then you need to also find a job. So which are the top employers that actually provide jobs to the students on part-time basis? So I have a list of that. Then useful context, like for example, when you come in and you're starting your life, you need to register with a doctor, which is called a GP. You need to register with a dentist. You need to know the tax authority, which is HMRC, and the police and emergency contacts. So when you're trying to think of coming to the UK, this is the most comprehensive guide that I thought that perhaps you should know. And before I proceed further, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Savesh. I am a barrister from England and Wales. I am authorized to do unreserved legal services and I do not have the rights of audience. I am also a trained qualified chartered management accountant from England. I am a Harvard Business School alumni and right now I am head of legal and finance in ACE Forensic Switzerland. And I also run turningpoint.com, careerturningpoint.com as a domain where I help highly qualified individuals to pivot to the next level in the role that they want or exponentially increase their pay. So I'm going to be talking all about that. So let's begin and go to the second part, the first part, which is sponsors list. So let me take you there. So here's the tab. So what are these sponsors and why you should be aware of that? So in order to come to the UK, you need to know that which institute are you going to be studying in, whether it's University of Law or is a BPP law school or any the names. So the UK government has made a list of the all the colleges and universities by city where they have the names and the status. So example, they can sponsor a student. So for example, if you see, um, let's look at American Institute for Foreign Study. It's in London. It's a student sponsor. There's student, and then there are different classification. What is really important for you is the immigration compliance level. So if you come down, some universities have been sanctioned, and they are on a action task list. So let me try to find out one. So for example, if you see subject to action plan and publicly funded college, East Sussex College Group, that means that this college has been probably told by the Home Office or by the UK government that they are not complying and they need to perhaps do certain steps. For example, making sure that they are fully compliant with international students, attending the college and providing the data that is required for um, to ensure that they are running as a legitimate institution to provide educational services. Because often what happens is that private companies open up. For example, you can see this limited word LTD, and they're perfectly legitimate to open an institution and do a tie with the university. But then what happens is that if they don't follow compliance and they're only taking student fees in return for that, the students don't have to turn up for studies and they will get the attendance fully marked. Some institutions have been blacklisted as a result of that. So before you go and select any institution, come to this website. This is about 1400 names. So let me show you at the bottom. 1 second. It's a long list and you can see who are subject to action. So for example, if you come down, this is the link, www.gov.uk, and I've made a list of that. So here the list, it gets constantly updated. If the name is not mentioned, you find out whether they have a sponsor license number or not. If not, then I recommend that you do not pay them the fees, because somebody could have a fancy website but may not be registered to sponsor international students, because that is required by the law. Okay, so that is the first thing. It's a huge list, And some of the good names I can say, for example, BPP. You can see BPP University Limited. They offer professional, financial, and legal qualifications, and they have a strong track record. You can see that, right? If I write the word law, there is my university where I studied, University of Law. You can have you can see the University of Law. It's in London. Higher education, student sponsored track record, and there is no sanction here. Okay, so this list is going to be really helpful for you. So this is, you need to know about this list, whether the institution where you want to study is actually registered or not. Okay, now moving on to the second part. When you come to the UK, you need to find a place to stay. So if you, for example, I'm going to take University of East London. It is a university which is right next to London City Airport, and they have their student pricing plans on this link. You can have a look at that. But if you want to not stay at campus and you want to do your own search, then these are top portals like Zoopla, Rightmove, OpenRent, because you go to these websites and then you make sure you filter for student accommodation only, that you're looking for one bedroom. Otherwise the rents that you will see will give you a negative picture, because those rents could be for a 3 bedroom house or a 1 bedroom apartment. Usually when students come, they take a room in a house, so it could have 4 rooms, 5 bedrooms, so you're actually renting 1 bedroom. So in order to do that, you can go and search here. So let me show you down below here. So this is Zoopla. It's E16 postcode, and I have written that I'm looking for, in the filter I stated that I'm looking for student accommodation only. So you can see you get this bedroom for 900 per calendar month. That is 207.69. Okay, so it says house share. Then you see this is the kind of room that you would get 950. Now mind you, these are rents on the higher level, because the rents have gone up, and they could be brokers in between like First Avenue. So my suggestion would be that if you're a student, try to stick to the range of, say, 550 to 800 pounds at top per calendar month, because you have other expenses on top like travel that you need to be mindful of, and you need to accommodate like for expenses for food, eating out, mobile bill, and all of that. So don't try to go beyond 900 to 950 in my opinion, because that is still quite high. So you can find that. Now another tip which is really really important is, how do you know that the person who's advertised the property is actually the owner? So sometimes when agents are involved, you will not know who the owner is, but you will know the property address. So my advice is that you should always check that the owner has given them the permission to be their broker, because sometimes they could just advertise on a website and take deposit from you, and then don't even take your phone calls. So you want to avoid that. So there is a website, gov.uk. You just write search for land and property information. You just need to write the postcode. Once you write the postcode and the name, the drop down list will come down, and you just pay £7, and you will be able to get a PDF document which says who the owner of that property is. Right, this is really important, because on many times students get defrauded by agents or people who advertise the properties, but they're actually not the owner. Right, you don't want to have that you don't want to have that situation. Now another thing is, if you believe that you are dealing with directly the owner and they give you the full name, you ask them for their full name, that what their full name is. Sometimes they might give you a nickname, but say, I need to know who I'm entering the contract with. So if they give you a contract copy, you will have the full address. So just go into this portal, gov.uk, and search for the address and the owner. You will know who the property belongs to. If there is a deviation between the name that is on the property deed and the person who's in the contract, then that is a red flag. Okay, this is really important, and it will save you thousands and thousands of pounds. Now another thing that's really important is um, deposits. How much rent? So under the English law, you can see the deposits are capped up to 5 weeks for rent under 50,000. So that means that the landlord can request only up to 5 weeks of rent, or 6 weeks if it is over 50k. So for example, if the rent is, say, £1,000 per week, that is 12,000, not £1,000 per week, my apologies, £1,000 per month, then it is 12,000 for the year. So in this situation, they cannot take more than 5 weeks of rent. Okay, and they must, this is important, the landlord and the letting agent must put that deposit into a government approved scheme within 30 days of receiving it, and they must give you a certificate of that. If they don't do that, you can actually make a complaint against them, because this is really important. Sometimes landlord would say, I need the deposit for myself just in case, but it has to be by law in the government approved scheme, because that gives you the assurance that if you don't have any damage or something after the checklist, then you will get that deposit back. Okay, so here is a link for that, that you can click and read out. Other portals are Rightmove, Open Rent, are really good. So if you just click on the sheet, which I will provide once you subscribe to my channel and send me a comment, give me the free guide, I will happily provide this thing. So let's look at University of East London. So they have these kind of rooms, and you can see the rents 217 per week for 2025 2026. So if it is 217 per week, you have 4.3 weeks per month, right? So you will multiply it by 217. You can see what kind of rooms there are. There are videos. So I think there is a hyperlink here. If you click on this page, this is for students who actually study on campus within University of East London. Okay, but this is just a guide to help you understand. These rooms are no more than 20 meters square, 17, so 13 meters square to 17 meters square, right? So the bigger the room, you only get a bed, a small storage, study table, and then you have a shared kitchen. Okay, so that is all the information in terms of um, accommodation search. So hope that is of some use. Now let's come to the third topic, which is jobs. So you need to know that where to find the jobs, and I have made this guide based on the top employers. For example, so Tesco, Asda, Primark, McDonald's, Burger King, Mango, Next, M&S. So these are big brands. They have many branches. So Tesco and Asda are two big food groceries retail outlets, or supermarkets chain, where you can buy food online also, and you can go into the large, uh, supermarket chain and go and buy the food. So mainly the jobs are of shelf filling, or security, or customer service as a cashier on the till. Okay, these are hard jobs, but these are easy, relatively easy, and there are website addresses. Now Primark is a budget friendly clothing store, where when you have just arrived in the UK, you don't have a lot of budget, it gets cold, and if you want to buy something cheap, and that will last you 3 to 6 months, it is excellent. You go and buy it from there, and they have a lot of jobs of retail cashiering. So what kind of job you will be doing? You'll be actually folding the clothes, putting them in the right place, unboxing, boxing, and then cleaning the place. McDonald's. So these are the names. I don't need to go into the more detail, but I have provided some websites. So if you just go and type the names, you will find the jobs. And another important thing for you is, by law for the year 2025, um, minimum wage per hour is something you need to be aware. That is 12 pounds and 21 pence per hour. So if you're more than 21, this is the minimum you have to be paid. Often these employers would pay you 13 pounds an hour or 12.50, whatever it is, but make sure that your gross hourly rate without tax is 12 pound 21 per hour, 12.21 per hour, right, as a student. And make sure you comply with the working conditions. If you're because as a student you're allowed to work only 20 hours per week. Please do not exceed this limit. If they catch you, if you do break the conditions, and the manager says you can do it, if you do, no, no, never even go even 1 hour ahead of that. And if somebody says, I'm going to take your job away, let be it, but never ever go above than 20 hours per week. Okay, you're allowed to work more than 20 hours when there are no sessions going on, exams are over, and then there is vacation time. But by all means, you should write to the home office and find out and tell them that during this and this time you have classes, and this time you have vacation. I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to try and work full time, but I'm just reaching out to you in good faith to comply with the student visa conditions. Okay, try to create a record of that. So there are links. Hopefully this is of some use to you. Now, what else you can do? So here's the link also to find your minimum wage rates in the UK. Let's come to the last part, which is, before you work in the UK, this is the number that is extremely important. So let me highlight for you. It's called NI number or national insurance number. You can apply online, and when you work, you usually are not allowed to work without it, but you can only apply once you arrive in the UK, and you need an address proof. You need to put your passport and the visa references, and you can click here, and it's a very simple process, and within a week or two you get your number online. Okay, this is a social security number which is alphanumeric, and this would be also put listed on your payslip. Okay, now in terms of taxes which are deducted on your salary, are the tax authority of the UK is HMRC. You can click on it and you can find out. If you believe that your employer is abusing your employment rights, for example, have not given you contract or have underpaid you, then you can make a complaint against them here. Once you come, it is really important that you register with a GP, which is a doctor. So just click here in the link, put your postcode. Once you put the postcode, which is a alphanumeric number, you will find the list. You just send them an email or a message online, and you will get to know whether they are accepting new patients or not. There are plenty of doctors. Same for the dentist. You need to, because usually what happens is, unless you're critically ill, you have to go to a doctor. Okay, so make sure you register with a doctor. If there is a police emergency, only emergency, then you are in serious risk. 999 is the number that you can dial. You don't need a credit for it. And when the operator picks up, they will ask you what kind of emergency this is: police, fire brigade, or ambulance. You say police. If it is non-emergency, then you dial 101. Okay, so these are the important information that I have provided, and this list is completely free of cost for you. Now let's look at what I provide. So Turning Point is the consultancy that I provide. The domain name is careerturningpoint.com. I'm going to provide the link. It's in my bio also, and you can book an assessment with me. But usually I have 3 or 4 kinds of assessment plans for professionals who are looking to pivot into a better role, and they want a higher salary, or they want to move internationally. Based on the number of sessions, I provide one-to-one consultation, and my hourly rates and my session rates are mentioned here. I do not provide any discounts. I stick to quality, and I pretty much make sure that the candidate who's coming to me gets the best possible advice, and they get options to pivot to the next level and exponentially increase their pay going forward. So you can have a look at that, and that's all I have for today. Hope you like the video, and please subscribe my channel, because this is really important. And if you want the free guide, this one, all of it, I'm happy to provide that completely free of cost if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, so till next time, take care.